Guest on the line. We can't be crabby.
Yeah.
Okay, are we live now?
Yeah.
All right. Run through the sponsors real quick again. We'll start from the bottom this time. Hero Haven, Heartland Hardware and Appliance in Brandon, South Dakota, George, Iowa, Hayward, Iowa, Fulkins Brothers Trucking, Kaiser Aluminum Wheels, Turn 2 Lodge in Knoxville, Huset Speedway, S2F Start to Finish Streaming Service, My Race Pass, Morning Sun Marketplace out in Central PA, Mount Tabor Cabinetry out in Central PA, and Rapid Graphics out of Rock Rapids.
Awesome. Hoagie's Garage. Take 2 tonight, Tobe.
Take 2.
Hey, guess what's coming up?
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. What does that mean, Tobe?
That means I get to give my wife a trip to the races.
Oh, that a boy.
I get to take her out, see what works good for me before we get this started. I don't know if she likes it or not, but her birthday's Friday. Races at Rocky. Mother's Day, Sunday. Races at Huset's. I figure it's a win-win for both of us.
What?
I get to take her out for a hot dog or a hamburger each night.
Don't splurge by any means, Tobe.
Maybe
But anyhow,
I'll maybe be nice to take her out Sunday.
why not?
Saturday, I mean.
Why not get one of the guys that knows everything about Huset's
Yep.
since he's been a little kid and has announced for a long time? Shawn Neistadt, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm watching the Outlaws race on the screen behind you here, so I can stay up to date what's happening out in Pennsylvania tonight.
If you say something and you pause for us to say something and we don't say anything, then holler at us because we might be watching the same thing. We have gotten distracted before.
That's why we're trying to turn this way so we aren't watching it. So,
well, you know what it's like for me sometimes. The racing gets really good, and I forget that I'm supposed to be talking.
Oh, I would struggle bad at that. Because I've said it a lot of times on the show, but I might be watching the race for 14th and 15th because that's where the fight is. And then at Huset, you lose track of who's winning because they're in lap traffic right away. And yeah, I couldn't do your job.
No.
Ain't
We appreciate what you do, Shawn. You've been doing it for a long time. How long have you been doing something at Huset Speedway?
Oh, goodness. This is my 25th season of announcing, but I started working out there when I was 15, so more than that. Yeah, a lot of years. I think what am I now? I'm 42, so whatever that maths out to be, a long time.
That's
25, 27, 28 years, something.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What's going on this year? Give us a little insight of what you think's happening this year. What I'm sure you have some sort of idea of car count, not exact, but
I heard it's big for Sunday night.
What are you thinking?
I think it's going to be crazy. I was actually meeting with Doug Johnson earlier tonight, and we were kind of planning out the night, and we got to the middle part of the night when you get to those B features, and I said, Doug, I think we're going to have 4 B features. And we didn't really disagree with that. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to have 2 410Bs, and I think we would go to 2 Bs at 38 to 39 cars, somewhere in there. So that's certainly a possibility. And in the Race Saver sprint cars, with everything that we're seeing, if it all holds true, I mean, look at the car counts last year. It was 40-ish, give or take every night, and I think we could easily see that again. So I think it's going to be a really, really strong turnout in the sprint cars, and then you know 18 to 22 Nordstrom's late model street stocks. It'll be a busy show.
That sounds amazing to me. I mean, you look where we were a few years ago, and thank goodness to Todd Queering for opening this place back up. But it just seems like things are popping. Yeah,
and I really love one thing that they've done this year, and this is, my old school heart is really happy with this. The 410s and the IMCA sprint cars will all be pitted on the infield. And that, I think, always adds to the show at Huset. It's having them right there in front of you, and you can watch the work going on between races, and you can see the team if they're changing wings, doing any of that stuff. And when they're putting different spacers on the right rears, and they got the tire off, and they're doing all that work. It's all going to be happening in front of us. That, to me, just adds to the show. it also speeds the show up. When they got to open that back gate and all the sprint cars got to push in, we know that adds time to the show. So I think that's it's gonna improve the show on multiple levels. The street stocks, they're going to be pitted out back, just because I think they're a little bit worried about space on the infield. But
that was my next question as a push truck driver. I'm like, okay, now we're going to have 100 cars in the infield, and so
yeah, it's a little tight down there. So, I really love it. I applaud them for doing it this way. I know they're really trying to get that infield organized and everyone to have their spots. And you're looking at the real possibility of 80 sprint cars across the two classes down there on the infield Sunday nights. So it'll be busy enough, and then you add in those street stocks out back. It's going to be there's going to be a lot happening on Sunday night. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. But like you said, it's going to it'll speed the process up. The late model guys, they can be sitting there running when the 305 heat gets done or whatever order they run it in. They can just pull in and basically it could just about come around and make one lap and take the green and we're good to go versus the sprint cars having to push in and then we got to get behind them. And it'll definitely be quicker.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Sunday night, we're just talked to Rod Pattison. He's going to unveil the 2025 class for the Huset's Hall of Fame. That's going to happen on Sunday night. And then there's a whole bunch of new promotions and things going on with the Pizza Ranch Kids Club. There's going to be coloring contests, and there's going to be some contests there at the track. And MedStar and Performance One, they have a new Lucky Fans of the Night program, fans plural. A couple fans are going to win $50 in the programs, and then they're going to draw some random numbers for the IMCA sprint cars, and those guys, whoever corresponds with the finishing position that those two fans draw, they'll each get an extra $100. And then we had the Facebook video up there on Huset's, and holy moly, the contingencies that they have for the racing program is incredible.
Yeah.
I watched that last night or the night before. I watched too many videos, but I watched that one. Yeah, that's going to definitely make things a lot nicer for them too.
Yeah, so much on the line. I mean, $5,000 to win in the 410 sprint cars, and I mean that's a fantastic payout. But then you add in all the other things going on, and what a year it can be there at Huset's for those teams that are going to be there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for those that don't, they'll have to just go to Huset's Facebook page and listen. You did a nice presentation of it. They can listen to all them contingency awards for all three classes, really.
Yeah. It's I mean, there's a lot in the 410s, but then there's a really healthy contingency program in the IMCA sprint cars, and still plenty up for grabs for the Nordstrom's late model street stocks. So, yeah, you definitely, if you're a driver, or a team, you got to appreciate those things. I mean, that's a lot of work on the streets that Doug Johnson and the team out there are doing, going out and getting the sponsors in place, and not just resting on it and being, well, we're going to open the gates and we're going to pay this. It's so much more than that, and I truly hope that the teams appreciate all of that work, because it's not easy to go out and ask these businesses not just for money, but for great contingency things like $100 towards a new wing or a new fuel cell if you sweep the night. All that stuff adds up.
Oh yeah, every little bit helps. I mean, we've talked to a lot of people over the last 3 years now we've been doing this, bud.
Yep.
And well, we said even with our show, we sponsor some cars, but it's actually our sponsors that sponsor us that sponsor the cars that we sponsor in a roundabout way. But but it's all how it all works. I mean, you got to have somebody helping you.
Good. I'm going to take Knoxville for a quick example on Saturday night. Tobe and I, the guys in our garage here, we really didn't understand how Brian Brown could start so far up after getting lapped in his heat in the feature. Can you kind of give us, the first couple of weeks scenario of how cars line up for features, and then maybe once there's 2 or 3 weeks in, how does that change?
Do you know all that, or do you have to get a rule book? Because if you don't,
I warned him.
You warned him already.
Yeah.
Oh well, then shoot, Shawn. I'll just sit over here and shut up and listen.
I know just enough on this to be dangerous. No, for the IMCA sprint cars and the late model street stocks, it's pretty simple. The opening night, it's going to be draw, redraw. So when they come in at the back gate, they draw, whether it's a poker chip or they hit the button on My Race Pass, whatever it is, they'll get a number, and that's going to basically tell them where they line up. If you draw a 1, great, you're starting up front. If you draw 100, you're going to have some passing to do in your heat races.
Yep.
And that's how they'll line up, and then they'll take, typically in an IMCA format, you're looking for 10 or 12 to make your redraw. So if there's 2 heat races, the top 5 out of the heats are going to be in the redraw. If there's 3 heat races, then they'll take the top 4. They'll be in the redraw. They draw 1 through 10 or 1 through 12.
Okay.
If you go to 5 heats, now you're looking at the top 2, so that number goes down as the number of heat races goes up.
Okay.
And that's how it'll be that opening night. Just you're looking for the draw when you sign in, and then the redraw, the top 10 or 12 in both of those divisions. After the point average is set the first night, the 2 classes, the IMCA sprints, the late model street stocks, they follow the same format. The drivers will line up based on an inverted point average for their heat races. So highest point average guy starts at the back, lowest point average starts at the front. That's true for the heat races. And then you're when you get to the feature, you're looking for that same top 10, top 12 type scenario. So if it's the top, let's say there's 3 heat races, you would take the top 4, and then they get their point average back, is how I explain it. So you take those top 4 from every heat race, gives you the front 12 starters, you line them up based on an inverted point average. So of those top 12 starting in the front 6 rows, the lowest point average is going to start on the pole. The highest of that group is going to start in that 10 or 12 spot. And then they line up behind them in the A main based on where they finished in the heat. So if you take your top 4 from the heat, then those guys are in their point average area, and then they're going to line up the 5th place cars, the 6th place cars, and so on. The point average, it's remember in the old days, it used to be the season-long point average.
Yep.
It's not that. It's your 3 most recent events at that track.
Okay.
It's not the last 3 weeks. So if you raced, if you miss a night, that's not a 0. It goes back to the last 3 times you've attended, if that makes sense.
Because say you do really well, you don't show, you do really well, you're hoping for a 0, but that's not the case. So I like that.
Right. And that's basically the IMCA format, whether you're watching modifieds at Marshalltown or IMCA sprint cars at Eagle. That's the format across IMCA.
Okay.
And the late model street stocks happen to follow that as well at Huset's. The 410s, this is where it gets interesting. Do you have your notebooks out? Do you have the
Bud took my pen, so I can't even take notes tonight.
So here's how that's going to go, and it's going to be a little bit different this year. Let's say 36 cars, for example. I think there's a pretty good chance I think we're a little bit above that on Sunday, maybe a bit more above that. But let's just take 36 for an example. That would give us 4 heats of 8. Right?
Yep.
16, no, that'd be 32. So let's say 32.
Okay.
We got 4 heats of 8, just for easy math here. In the past, we probably would have split that into Group A qualifying and Group B qualifying, and everybody in Group A runs against that group, and that makes up heat races 1 and 2, and everybody in Group B makes up heat races 3 and 4.
Yep.
That's not the case anymore. So what they're going to do now is at the back gate, they'll do their normal draw, just like they always would, and that'll determine the time trial order, just like it always has. The difference will be, and it's still 1 car, 2 laps, none of that changes. It'll look the same. The difference will be the first, if it's 4 heat races, the first quarter of the field, so in our example, the first 8 cars, they make up heat race number 1, and they're timing against heat race number 1 competitors.
Okay.
Kind of like the old All-Stars format when you would only qualify against those in your heat race. That's what we're doing this year at Huset's.
Okay.
So then the Heat 2 guys will qualify only against those in Heat 2, Heat 3, Heat 4, so on. It actually makes it a bit more nimble for the officials in setting lineups. When you're talking larger groups, you're really kind of stuck at 4 heat races, 3 or 4 heat races, and then you have to jump all the way to 6 heat races to kind of keep things equal.
Okay.
Where this way, you can add that heat race number 5 if you need, and it makes it a little bit more flexible.
Yep.
And then it's back to how I always say it's points are the name of the game on the night. So when you time, if you're quick time within your heat race, that's 120 points. It goes down by 2 points per position in timing. The quickest out of each heat race starts 4th. Second quick will start 3rd. Third quick will start 2nd, and 4th quick starts 1st. So we invert 4 in every heat race. And then 5th quick lines up 5th, 6th quick 6th, so on.
Okay.
So based on where they finish, they get their time trial points, and then in their heat race, points are up for grabs again. It's 100 points to win the heat, and then down by 3 points per position. After the heat races, we're done talking. We're done with groups. Everybody's in the pool together. We'll take the top 20 in accumulated points. They're going to the A main. 21st on back, they're going to a B main or B mains. If they would have to be split into 2, there would not be a C feature in the weekly show at Huset's.
Okay.
So then let's say somebody sets quick time for their heat. They win their heat. That's 220 points. We know they're probably going to be the top point driver of the night. Where it's going to get a little bit difficult and a little bit interesting is in that 6, 7, 8 range. When you're talking this many cars, the top 8 make the redraw, right? We still have the Royal River Casino redraw, and we're redrawing the top 8. But when you put them all together in heat races, the chance of a tie is greater than ever before.
Yep.
So there's probably going to be quite a few ties in this point scheme. The tiebreaker will be the fastest of their qualifying laps. So your qualifying time would then matter against everybody.
Okay.
So earlier in the night, it only matters against your heat race. But when we get down there later in the night where we're breaking ties, then your quickest lap is what is the tiebreaker. If that happens to be the same, they go to their second lap in qualifying. They're slower of the 2 laps. And if there's still a tie break, they flip a coin. And then we're going. But if you had 2 identical laps, I would I don't know, I'd go buy a Powerball ticket.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's the gist of it.
The whole time, right?
What's that?
And that'll stay the same for every weekly show. Weekly show.
Yep, that's the plan right now. If something arises and it seems goofy and they got to adjust it, I think they would. But that's the plan right now going forward. I think it's the point system is similar to what Knoxville has used. I think they've got some different points breakdowns. So that's something that we've always looked at times at Huset's in the past. You've had to finish in the top 5 in your heat to transfer to the A, but I don't think that's in play anymore. It's simply the points. Top 20 in points from time trials and heat races combined go to the A. Top 8 in those points go to the Royal River Casino redraw. Final 4 starters come out of B or B mains, and then you've got some provisionals that can fill in back there for 2 more spots, and away we go for $5,000.
So how many provisionals does a guy get for a year then?
2. So there are select teams that have provisionals, and the driver had to have perfect attendance last season to be eligible for a provisional. And then there's a maximum of 2 provisionals each night, and it starts at that top of the list for last season's final point standing. So the first person to choose to use A provisional would be Caleb Johnson would give first option,
Okay.
and then Mark Dobmeyer, then Brendan Mullen, and so on down the list. Once two of those drivers say, "Yep, I'm taking a provisional," it's done.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's really helpful for me.
Bud gave me back my pen, so I got notes written down. And the worst comes
He's
to
got
worst,
writer's cramp.
I'll re-listen to the podcast. That's the benefit of it being recorded.
Now people can just go to the podcast if they have questions.
If
So
you're on the people, Shawn, they need to know the point. Just tell them to go to Hoagie's Garage Podcast with you, and it's all there.
Yeah, there we go. Just or there's the rule book, the Huset's rule book. They can download that, and I mean, just talk about some great reading for a nice. Just open the windows and have a breeze blow in, and just some nice light reading for an afternoon.
We printed off the World of Outlaws rule book a couple of years ago. What was that like?
Well, we
100
always
pages?
kind of think Johnny just pulls stuff out of the air, and so we printed off the book, and that thing was like 3 inches thick. I'm like, Tobe, go for it. I'm not reading this thing. So. But
they've got it all covered. I was surprised last year or 2 years ago when they had a push truck run over a sprint car and damage it. And right off the top of his head, Johnny was like, "Oh, that's 8 minutes in the work area," and the track goes red. And it's in there. And
yeah.
So I was like, "Well, I'm going to put that away for a rainy day and use that with MSTS." And last year we were in Aberdeen, and right there in front of us, push truck goes over the right rear of a sprint car, and I'm like, I know the rule for this. It's 8 minutes in the work area.
There you go. You just never know.
There's one of them already this year. I seen I think it was a wingless. They were pushing him for time trials or whatever, and then got sideways and run over the corner of the wall. And yeah. Us push truck drivers, we're not perfect. I won't argue that with anybody, but we try.
What's your favorite racing night?
My favorite racing night?
Yeah. You can only pick one. Which night is it at Huset's?
Oh, of the season. Oh, boy.
Bud was a little vague on that question when he started out, because I was confused what he was asking.
Yeah.
So I'm not a very bright guy.
Well, truth be told, announcers, we hate opening nights because that's when you've got to figure everything out.
And you've got new sponsors and drivers.
New paint schemes. You don't know who's who, and I'm older and my eyes aren't as good and the numbers are harder to read. So opening nights announcers hate them. If I have to pick one night a year at Huset's, it's championship night of the High Bank Nationals. That's the electricity of the crowd. Oh, you can't beat that. I mean, that is so cool.
Yeah, it's absolutely packed. You might as well go in the pits for 2 hours afterwards because you can't get out of there.
Yeah. Don't be. If you're in the stand side, don't be in too much of a hurry to finish that last drink because you might as well sit there and enjoy 1 or 2 or 6 more.
Yeah. Lee Goes. You're gonna be able to see him this year. He just sent us his 410 scheme, and wow, it's like complete opposite of normal. So you're gonna be able to see him.
You'll be able to find him on the track.
You mean his car isn't going to be whatever the used color of the car was in a silver wing?
No.
Oh man, this is sharp for Lee.
Yeah.
So,
oh boy.
Yeah, watch out.
Did he bring back the old school pink?
No pink.
Oh, remember that car? That was a good looking car.
Yep, absolutely. His boy talked to me one time about making redoing that car. Dylan wanted to do that car for him, but yeah, we didn't have the money to come up for that. So, but yeah, that.
So, skipping around a little bit, I know I went by and they put a new wall around by the highway, built a new fence or whatever. Anything else new at the track that we should know about?
Oh, goodness. They're always working on stuff. I know the back gate is new. They redid that whole area around that, and I thought it was still the old gate, but I drove by tonight, and it looks like it's a whole new back gate that they put on there, and the guys that got to lift those pins and move the gate in and out all night long, I think
they're going to be happy?
Yeah, they're going to be very happy. The late Earl Felcher designed the old gates and the old pins in there, and I remember when he put those in, he was so proud of how it was going to work. And And I went to pick up one of the pins, and I couldn't move it. And he'd come and moved it with like one arm. I mean, he was just
back
he
in
was
the 70s, that was probably a good patent.
yeah. I mean, he was a strong guy, and so that was due for an update. The new speakers that they put up last year and the new sound system, that's all still rocking. And I went out and tested that. I love that sound system now. And
did you check the infield?
Did they fix the one in turn 3 in the infield? So I can hear.
I don't know. If I had my way, I'd probably take that down with a shotgun. But
but hey,
that was
on the radio.
a Badlands remnants.
My wife's got it on the radio all the time, so we can listen to you on the radio.
Yeah, well, yeah, we are. Was it 91.3 or 93.1, the FM transmitter?
I got it written down in the truck, so I can remember. But.
Yep, and we should be up on the My Race Pass app this year too. I think they're waiting on one last piece, but I think everything else was sitting there. So
there too.
Yeah, and that was really cool. I was when we were testing that last year with Josh and Ross and the group. I mean, that was like almost as live as the FM transmitter was. So that'll be really, really handy too, and people I think will be able to tune in. Not just at the racetrack, but anywhere, and listen to the audio on My Race Pass this year, too.
That's awesome.
So, if I can make one suggestion, just for me in the infield, is it?
Just so you know, last year he asked Todd Queering to put Hall Blacktop down so he didn't have to drive on the Red Rock.
Wrecking my tires, I told him.
Oh, my gosh.
But
we see how well that's gone, too, right?
Yeah, that ain't happening, but I had to pick on him a little bit. Is it possible during time trials, they got the 2 separate screens, and the one's got like the top 12 in speed, which we only need 8 now. So then I'll be all right. But otherwise, I was wondering if a guy could put a picture of the driver and his name up on the other screen and just maybe not run sponsors for that 10 minutes during time trials.
Yep, they've actually worked on that, and they're in the works on that. They're trying to find better ways to automate it and make it just a little bit more user friendly for those up that work on that up top side. But that is in the works.
Yeah.
Look at there. See, I don't have to ask for anything.
We just need to mention that it sounds like we're going to be able to do the Hero Haven again. We really appreciate you taking the time to do that each night with the Hero of the Night. So that's been a really cool thing.
It's one of my favorite parts of the night, and without service and sacrifice, we don't have the freedoms to do those things and get together with our friends and family out there at the racetrack. So absolutely, that's the least we can do to take a moment and show some respect and our gratitude to those who have done so much to allow us to be there.
You bet. Yeah. And Doug said that he's hiring a couple knuckleheads again afterwards to do our turn 4 thing. And you know what? Last year that actually got views like crazy. So I know they weren't there to see Tobe and I. They wanted to see who we were going to have on.
We could talk into coming on the show.
And we got to really thank Tylen for doing that, and thank Doug for allowing us to do that. That's been a lot of fun also.
I'm so thankful that you guys do it, and gives us and the fans, something to watch with our phones and put the audio up on our cars as we're hitting the highway and getting out of there. And on a personal note, I'm so glad you guys did that, because by the last checkered flag, I'm ready for a cold beverage, guys. So I'm so glad it's you guys doing that.
I bet you are. Yeah. We did Anthony Macri, and he got off. He walked to his trailer, and we drove Tobe's pickup back there, and I showed him. So in that amount of time, we had 2.5 thousand views in that short of time. It was like 2 minutes. So it's really cool.
Yeah.
So,
but it's our most popular time of the year.
Yeah, no kidding. Anything else with the Husets? I think, explaining how people line up is awesome.
Yeah, really appreciate you doing that for us.
If you're going north, go north out.
Yeah.
If you're going south, go south. Right?
That's right. Still going to use those old directions, and I've got to find an old computer here yet tonight, and I'm trying to resurrect an old piece of audio that a sponsor has requested come back, and I thought I had it on my last computer, and it's not there. So I got to really dig into the archives here. But if I can find it, it's going to bring back some memories. But no, so excited for the season, and yeah, thanks for listening and following the traffic instructions that we've been parking out for 30 years.
By the time we leave, it really don't matter anymore.
No. Two quick things, and now I can't remember them. What the heck was I going to ask him?
You didn't tell me. Give us a second. The wheels are turning. I can hear them grinding over here.
I know this feeling. This is why I have to write everything down now too.
Oh, it's terrible. I started taking pills for memory now, but it ain't helped a whole lot yet.
Son of a buck.
Oh, you'll come up with it as soon as we say goodbye.
Yeah.
That's
your little thing that you're doing. You're going to race shops. Talk real quick about that. That's been really cool.
Oh, yeah, that's been fun. That was Doug presented that idea to me, and just as we were talking in the off season, he said, "Hey, would you want to walk us through some shops when we're getting close to the season?" And I was absolutely. And I think it's important to show the race fan that it's not just the race night, and really it's not just the 4 months or 3 months of the year that we're racing. This is, for most of these teams, it's a 12-month-a-year operation. When the racing season's done, the teardown begins, and you either start building a new car or rebuilding your old car, and it's a lot of work in the off season, and then you take that and you condense it down, and we really need to show these teams the respect that they deserve, because what they do to go compete every single week is really remarkable. The number of hours that these men and women put in their garages or in their shops, it's incredible. And I had so much fun up there at the house shop up at Lake Madison, and
that was impressive.
Yeah,
they put that many out of there.
Yeah, that's a late model street stock shop, and it's got all their cars in it, and Ron's motorhome, and they're building an identical shop next door, because I think Ron got tired of shuffling cars around, so they're going to have another shop and split the cars up a little bit. And
great motorhomes in the way.
Great problem to have when you've got a 5-car late model street stock team.
Yeah.
And the last thing I did remember.
Okay.
I remembered them both. What time do we start Sunday night?
2 in the afternoon. When things will get going, is it 6:30 hot lap, 7 time trial, 7:30 we're going racing. I don't know. Come on, gates open at 5. Come
That's
on
all
out.
I need to know right there. Gates open at 5.
Steve will send me a text later to tell us what time he wants us there on the first night. So.
Yeah.
Oh, one.
I know gosh, I really should know that right off the top of my head, shouldn't I? I know the pit meeting is at 6, so I'm going to guess 6:30 is hot laps, 7 o'clock time trials, and we're racing at 7:30.
Yeah.
That's the
Quarter
schedule.
after 6 will be engine heat.
Oh yeah, yeah. So but again, gates open at 5 for the grandstands. Come on out and say hello to your racing family you haven't seen for a few months, and get your program and get set to go, and we'll have a good time, and when the cars roll onto the track, we'll be ready to go.
One thing on a personal note on you there a little bit. Are you and your boys still doing that RC racing you were doing?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we had another great season over racing primarily in Algona, Iowa. There's a track here in Brandon now. It's not a dirt track, it's carpet, which is somewhat popular in radio control car racing, and it's really nice to go race about 4 minutes from my front door. And we're actually doing a race. It's called Cedar Speedway. It's on Cedar Street in Brandon, kind of over by where 212 was.
Yep.
And they're going to do a race on the day of the High Bank Nationals on Saturday, and it's the No Bank Nationals, they're calling it, which is funny on a couple levels. That one, there's no banking on the track, it's flat, and 2, there's no bank and there's no purse. So but we're going to run 4 different sprint car classes there that day. I think it's going to start around 10 in the morning, and then we can get out of there and everyone can go enjoy the racing at Huset's that night. So yeah, a lot of RC car racing and a lot of fun. And
is that going to be in one of the parking lots there then, or actually on one of the side streets in town?
It's actually inside a building. It's
okay.
The gentleman that owns it, it's named Berwin DeYeger of DeYeger Plumbing and Heating here in Brandon, and they built a new shop for the business, and he kind of had this man cave sitting there, the old shop building. I shouldn't say old. I mean, it's a nice building, but it's where they were shopped out of previously. And a couple people got talking to him, like, we could put a radio control car racetrack in here, and so they did. And really, they just finished up their first big season. They run on Saturdays now. Throughout, you can look them up on Facebook, Cedar Speedway, and see their schedule. Go check them out on select Saturdays throughout the summer. And they run stock cars and modifieds and sprint cars, and it's a great time.
Cedar Speedway. I wrote it down.
Yep. Well, Shawn, our 15-minute podcast just hit 35 minutes. So sorry we kept you so late, but everything you mentioned was so awesome. We are so excited for Huset. It's not even funny. So
if Bud could have remembered his question, we would have been done in 17 minutes. But hey,
no kidding. So, but thanks again, Shawn, and have a great year, man.
Appreciate it anytime, and thanks for all what you guys do.
All right, you take care.
All right, thanks again, Shawn. We really appreciate it.
No, my pleasure. Anytime.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.